Grab your headphones, listen up, you know you love it. Drop the facade. Like the Dark Knight Detective, they've got some perspective. They're a pure crime fighting collective. It's the Bat Pod.
Welcome to this episode of Gotham Currents. My name is Bill Bere, and joining me tonight, as always, John Coos.
Yeah, man, and it's actually at night. Sometimes we fib and say
Yes, it's a little
nighttime.
earlier, but
Yeah, it's
it
actually
is
dark.
it's night for me. It's
It's dark here in California.
oh,
Yeah, it's dark.
okay. There you go.
Well, good evening to you.
So, good evening. So tonight we're going to be discussing Batman 154, Batman and Robin 115, not 115, 15, Batgirl number 1, and Absolute Batman number 2. If you'd like to join the conversation or emails the podcast at thebatpod.com, we are on Blue Sky, Threads, and Facebook. Just search the Bat Pod podcast.
The Bat Pod is a spoiler podcast. Please read the comics we're reviewing so you can enjoy the show.
Yeah, man. Are you ready to rock this?
Yep.
All right, we're doing Batman 154. Have you got the cover ready or not? I do.
Of course, as always.
But it's written, this is The Dying City Part 2, written by Chip Zdarsky, art by Carmine Di Giandomenico, colors by Tomeu Mori, letters by Clayton Cowles, and editor is Rob Levin. So we got the cover here, Bill. Before I get into the summary, what are your thoughts?
I like this cover. You have the villains in the background, you know, Court of Owls, Riddler, fake Captain America, and you have Gordon and Batman looking at this crime scene. It's kind of an interesting cover.
Yeah, I dig it. The crime scene, which is the chalk outline of a murder victim, and we will get into that right now. So, quick recap of where we left off because it's super important. The Riddler is a legitimate tech businessman now, and he wants to absorb Wayne Tech. Vandal Savage is the GCPD commissioner. We get a new violent vigilante introduced named Commander Starr. Vandal Savage has taken a liking to him. Jim Gordon's a private eye. Someone has laid claim to half the Wayne fortune, a long-lost brother. And it ends with Mayor Nakano getting shot and killed. So our story opens at the mayor's house with the chalk outline where Mayor Nakano was shot in the living room. Harvey Bullock and the GCPD are on the scene, but so is Batman and Private Eye Jim Gordon. Batman visits the deceased mayor's assistant, and she tells him the mayor has had a lot of fights recently with his wife and a man named Leonid Cull. Bullock questions Nakano's wife, and she clams up and asks for a lawyer. Move to a scene with the Riddler, Edward Nygma, and Leonid Cull, who turns out to be in the Court of Owls. Batman shows up and questions them. Then the GCPD shows up and tries to take in Batman. They fail. Bruce visits Dr. Leslie Tompkins, who worked at Mercy Hospital when Thomas Wayne was an internist, finds out that Thomas Wayne and a nurse named Tara had a tryst during a tough time during the Wayne marriage. Could this be a baby that is the brother? We'll find out. Leslie Tompkins thinks not. Not that wouldn't be in Thomas Wayne's character to just let this child be out in the world. The anti-Bruce Wayne protesters storm the hospital. That was featured in the first issue of this arc. And Bruce nearly takes a bullet to the head until that Commander Starr guy shows up and intervenes. Batman then goes to the mayor's house, the murder scene, and finds Jim Gordon had the same idea to sort of investigate in private without the distraction of the police department roaming all around. Bullock calls Batman on his bat earpiece and informs him that the mayor's wife was having an affair. Then Jim Gordon nervously points a gun at Batman, muttering, "It was self-defense," implying that he shot the mayor. Batman disarms him. The story ends with them sitting on the floor in despair, not talking. Okay, Bill. I liked it. What are your thoughts, man?
I enjoyed it. There's something happens at the ending there that I was a little disturbed for a little while.
Okay, well, let's park that for a second. What are your thoughts about the Jim Gordon Private Eye? I mean, he's not unless he's been hired by somebody. I mean, Batman probably should wonder why he's there. The GCPD should wonder why he's at the sort of the cleanup of the crime scene and stuff.
Well, you would think, a private eye is hired to do something, hired to investigate. But they have Gordon in this story, and I'm glad he's in there. If he's not the commissioner, I'm okay seeing him in this capacity. And it's cool. We get Bullock here. Bullock doesn't want them on the crime scene because unless it's after hours, because, he just got his job back and you got the new commissioner and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I didn't really think anything of it. Did you notice one thing I noticed in the artwork? Did you notice that Gordon has two earpieces, like two, ear? You don't see it on that page, but in the coming pages where they're standing outside and looking at the video of the wife, he has two, Bluetooth earbuds or something, which I thought was a little weird.
Oh, I see that now.
Yeah. If he was like 18 years old, I would understand it, but
yeah, they're right. It's right there.
Yeah.
I didn't pick up on that. That's an interesting pickup. I mean, most people. I mean, if you're listening to music and stuff, but if you're kind of doing detective work and stuff, it's usually in one. So are you thinking that's significant? Like,
no, I don't think it. I just something I noticed. I mean, and we got the major players here. They're having dinner. We have this new deputy mayor who's now the mayor. You got the Riddler, and you got this, head of Leonid, head of the Court of Owls here having dinner, and they're all sort of like celebrating. The mayor doesn't seem like the new mayor doesn't seem like he's celebrating, but they're celebrating a little bit. They're happy that, Nakano's out of the way.
The new mayor, by default, because the mayor just got killed, he clearly looks scared and kind of owned a little bit. He's not an A-type personality, that's for sure. He's not the alpha male in the room, as they would say.
No, definitely not. He's somebody that they can control, that's for sure.
Yeah, and the way that Riddler is depicted when he's eating and when he's wiping his mouth, when he's holding his wine, he just looks so comfortable and so smug. And that continues when Batman's there. Like, he is feeling on top of the world. Like, and so does this Cull character. Like, I don't remember the Court of Owls being so out in the open like this. They're feeling both of them are feeling pretty smug, which I find interesting.
Yeah, the Court of Owls has never been that way. I mean,
right.
The previous, the first story we had with the Court of Owls, you had Lincoln March, but he wasn't announcing that, I'm the head of Court of Owls, that sort of thing. Or, they were much more secret, and you really haven't seen anybody. You haven't seen the Talons or anybody like that.
You
But
haven't.
no,
I want to ask you something about this is the second time, the first issue in this arc, in that street scene during the daytime, the police are making an attempt at arresting Batman. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this a new aspect because of the Vandal Savage commissionership, that the police are basically being told, like, if you see the Batman, arrest him?
that could be, but this is the Court of Owls, because he picks off that little symbol off one of the officers and throws it, and it's the Court of Owls symbol.
Oh, so it's the cops that are sort of the Court of Owls henchmen, or they're in the Court of Owls, or
right,
or they're owned by them or paid by them.
They're in the secret society or whatever.
Got it. I didn't cover it, but I love this scene where the Batman still has a lot of friends on the inside with the coroner, and how he lets Batman. And the funny part is like, the coroner's basically like, if you find something that I didn't find, let me know, kind of a thing. But I thought that was a cool scene.
and he calls him by his first name, Lewis.
Yeah.
So he's done this before. And what I find interesting in this scene is Nakano, the bruising on his face. And if you go back to last issue, we see only like 3 little panels before Nakano gets shot. You don't see any bruising on his face. You see him in shock, like whoever he sees is in shock. And then he finally gets shot. So you're led to believe, at least in there, that, he just got shot. He didn't get beat up and that sort of thing. So when I first saw this, I'm like, okay, what's going on? There's more than we know is going on. And I like to see the detective work. That's one of the fun things.
That's really cool that you picked up on that. I didn't pick up on that. Sorry, been flying around the country a little bit and reading on planes a little bit. I didn't pick up on that. So so between, there must have been a shooting. Maybe, is this what you're saying? A shooting. Maybe he didn't die. Maybe an altercation or something else.
Well, when we get to the end, I'll explain my theory.
Okay, got it. Okay, fine. Let's get to that. Yeah.
But we get another scene here, and I think it's important to point out is, Bruce and his new head of Wayne Enterprises, he has a claimant that says that he has a brother, and she says, oh, you should just sign all your shares over to him, and you can get them later. So she's really, and we already know she's working with the Riddler, so.
Yeah. I didn't cover that in the summary, but I suppose I could have, but that wasn't lost on me either. She's pushing. She continually is, nudging Bruce to merge, sell, comply, whatever. And we know that she's talking to Edward Nygma, so there's something going on there. But we know they're talking from the first issue in the arc. But it's. Do you think that one of the smartest guys on Earth, he picks up nuances? Have we just not seen yet that Bruce is on to this pushing? Because he's, in both issues, he's acting, he doesn't react to her subtle pushing, but this is Batman. Have you thought about that? Because I did. That he must later on say, I knew all along, but he can't let on because he's Bruce Wayne.
I have a feeling that it's that way. I mean, I have a feeling that he picked that up. I mean,
he has to have.
Yes.
He's Batman. Yeah.
But he goes to Leslie Tompkins here, and he kind of gets confirmed. And Chip Zdarsky, throughout this run, has changed some things in history, like the Joker Year 1 with partitioning his mind and there being several personalities of the Joker because he can just switch to that sort of thing. And here we're Thomas Wayne has an affair basically,
Right.
and it's known. Now it's not known if he got this nurse pregnant or anything like that. It doesn't really say that, but Bruce came to Leslie to find out. I don't know if that's as shocking as it should be. Do you think that's shocking?
Shocking, no. It's 2024,
Mm-hmm.
and we all know that marriages are complicated, blah, blah, blah. But it does, to your point, I think, pierce the image of the Thomas and Martha Wayne perfect marriage for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And in that sense, you're right. He's changing whatever 80 years of that notion, right? But at the same time, he does make us feel for Bruce in this, in that Bruce has the same perception of his parents' marriage that we do, and the way he reacts to it is mature. That they're human. I didn't know them. My impression of them is frozen in time from when I was whatever 9, 10 years old, whatever Bruce Wayne was in the alley, right? But I liked it. I half like it. It's still, I'm still processing it in a way, if that makes sense. That Thomas Wayne had a moment of weakness with this Nurse Tara, and I guess I'm okay with it because it is 2024 or whatever. But there's something about it that also makes me feel itchy or something,
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, but
Uh,
yeah. But I guess Leslie, she probably kept this a secret because why tell him if it's not relevant?
right, and
I respect
it's
that.
not like there were no repercussions here until now, supposedly. But we don't even know if this is true or not. If there really is a child, or it's just
Right.
something being set up by the Riddler and that sort of thing.
So, I mean, I didn't get into it that much in the summary. We talked about it a little bit in the first issue. I talked about it briefly about the anti-Wayne commie accusation stuff. I mean, some of this I feel like is a little bit of a distraction and a overblown. Like, I just, it hasn't been presented to me that this mob would have this feeling about what Bruce is doing in Gotham. What about what's your take on that whole thing?
Yeah, I don't feel the same about that. I mean, I don't feel I don't understand where this is. It's sort of like a political thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I don't understand. I mean, sometimes the political stuff that seeps into comics based on what's going on in the real world is kind of obvious, and it's a commentary on the times or whatever. But this one, it just anyway. We don't need to spend a lot of time in it, only because it's obvious that this is going to be an underlying subplot. But right now, I don't get it. But let's just leave it at that.
Well, I think in this particular issue, they bring in this Commander Star. I don't know where they're going with this Commander Star because, we're close to the end of Chip Zdarsky's run, and I don't know who he is or, obviously he's working with Vandal Savage, but
I mean, this isn't a spoiler because I don't know, and I have,
Mhm.
but could Commander Star be the supposed half brother guy or whatever? We'll see. I
I
guess.
guess it's possible, but
It's just kind of weird that he's there, and yeah,
yeah.
he's kind of got this. I don't know if it's Punisher-esque because Punisher, but it does have this like sort of crypto-fascist kind of attitude about vigilantism that breaks the normal conventions of like our traditional heroes, about willingness to maim or kill, which obviously runs roughshod against Batman's philosophy. But so anyway, moving on. Um, you these 3 or 4 pages of the five-ish pages of the private investigation for Batman and Jim Gordon. You wanted to you texted me about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Let's
I'll
get it.
say this right up front.
You've had time to think about it, though. Have you chilled out? Go ahead, say it up front.
Well, I told you that I was a bit peeved about this
Right.
because it makes Jim Gordon look like he's a killer.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like, he was having an affair with the wife.
Right.
And Batman finds out, and Gordon draws a gun on him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Gordon and Nakano got in a fisticuffs, and he beat him up a little bit because he was cheating with his wife and he found out about it. But I don't think he shot him. But it makes you think he did because he pulls that gun, and Batman he gets a little peeved and is like, "You pulled a gun on me? On me?" He breaks his glasses and that sort of thing. I don't know why Gordon pulled the gun on him. If that scene is not in this book, I would feel a little bit better. But him pulling the gun on him makes me think that, he's guilty of something more than just beating this guy up. But I hope that's not true. You can't make Gordon a killer.
Okay.
Sorry, you can't do it.
You got a couple things going on here. You can't make Gordon a killer. I get that. And I'm with you there. And I'm also with you, even if Gordon, let's move past that for a second.
Mm-hmm.
If Gordon, in self-defense, like he claims, we know there's something else going to happen, but let's just take it on face value. Let's say Gordon did shoot Nakano and killed him, and it was self-defense because Nakano came at him with a gun or something.
But it was in his apartment, it's in his house.
No, fine. I get that. But what I'm saying is, even if that happened, I think what you mentioned earlier about Jim pulling the gun on Batman, it seems weird because if Jim had just said, I shot him, or he implied that he shot him, Batman's not going to kick his ass, or he's not going to beat him up. He's going to be bummed and disappointed and try to figure out what happened. Is there a world where Jim is so freaked out that he thinks Batman's going to do anything to him physically that he would pull a gun on him? And that's why Batman says,
"Yeah,
you pulled a gun on me?"
Right.
So that's my biggest issue is why, no matter what happened, why would Jim Gordon pull a gun on Batman? More so than Jim killing somebody.
Yes, yeah. I agree with that. We got a couple comments here about this issue.
Okay.
From former co-host Sean Ross. And one says, Jim Gordon is a straight killer of awesome mustaches. But he says, I am angry that they killed Nakano, though. He was a great character and thought they were going to make Nakano's wife a villain. Or think they're going to make, Nakano's wife a villain. And that could be true, that the wife was behind this.
I agree with him. I at least on both fronts, he is a straight killer of awesome mustaches, and Nakano was a cool character, and he's Asian. We need more Asians in comics and stuff, and he was a strong Asian character, and he was complicated because his character, I think, was maturing, and he was just reflecting on some of his past errors, political errors, and decisions about Vandal Savage. He was just kind of getting really interesting, and so it's a bummer that Nakano's now dead. Now he's not Green Arrow or something. He's not coming back, right? He's dead.
No, he's dead. And if
Yeah,
you read that Mariko Tamaki's run on Detective Comics, where he was introduced, I know that's what Sean is talking about, because he was in a lot of issues there, and they really
Oh, yeah.
developed his character.
Oh, they did. I agree.
Yeah.
You made me read all of those, and and these last few issues of this, yeah, it's a bummer. It's a bummer that he's now dead. And I mean, in a weird way, this sounds just kind of like a throwaway comment. This whole story that about the wife feeling neglected and leaving with the son and stuff, I kind of wanted to see how Nakano would recover, but well, all that's gone now. Gone.
Yes.
Okay. Good comments, Sean. Appreciate it.
Yep. So we'll move on from here and head to our next book, which will be Batman and Robin number 15. We get a cover here of 15. What do you think this cover? We got Memento in the back. It says From Ashes, or of Batman's past, Memento rises, and you have Batman and Robin here. What did you think of this cover?
It's fine. I don't know. It kind of felt Indiana Jones-ish or something. It's kind of like Temple of Doom-ish or something. It's ominous. It smacks of mystery, but yeah, it's not your typical cover. But it's pretty. It's fine. It's good. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay, so your writer.
Go ahead. Oh, what about you, Bill? What did you think of that cover?
Oh, yeah, I thought it's okay. It's
okay,
yeah. So
okay, fair enough. Moving on.
Your writer is Philip Kennedy Johnson. Artists Javi Fernandez and Carmen D. Domenico. Colorists Marcelo Malio. Sorry for the butchery. Cover artist Javi Fernandez and editor Ben Mears. And we're continuing from last issue where Bruce is stuck in the boiler room. Damien is upstairs at the party. No bat costumes or anything. Bruce is surrounded by fire. He bandages his hands and grabs a rusted, burning hot chain and swings himself to safety as the room, explodes. Upstairs, Damien dons night vision lenses and triggers the sprinkler system. He rushes through the room, rescuing guests, and notices the young girl who had been irritating him earlier in the evening is wounded. Driving home, Damien describes the figure he saw who wore a mask of stone. Bruce describes a series of murders that occurred while he was studying the art of detection under a man named Atticus Bly. A villain named Memento committed these crimes, and he wore a Victorian riding cloak with an antique plaster death mask. In a flashback to Bruce's time in London, Bly is trying to teach Bruce, or young Jack, about detection through the Memento murders. In the present, Batman tells Robin that the Memento performed a similar recreation of the 1892 fire. And then we get at the Gotham docks, Tiger Shark and two henchmen await a shipment of guns as they plan to use in their war with the Penguin. A boat approaches with Memento in control as he drives the boat directly into the docks as our issue ends. So this is a direct continuation, and we get Batman and Robin, trying to save themselves here. What did you think of this opening scene?
With the boiler room on fire
stuff? Yep.
No, I felt like this was really well drawn, and it really made you feel that Bruce was in serious mortal danger here and desperate. And, the narrative matches the panels very well on that. He's looking for anything to get him out of this jam. The place is heating up. He knows that he doesn't have long, and he's got to make a calculated decision to, go for that chain and use it as basically a rope of sorts and get out of there. And I thought in just 3 panels, basically, in that first page, it made you feel like you're there. That's how I felt.
Yeah, it felt like a predicament of, okay, how's he getting out of this?
Right. Yeah. I want
And
to
then Damian.
Go ahead.
Damian, we get some good characterization here.
Totally. I was just going to say, if you look at the facial expressions in Damian throughout this issue,
Mm-hmm.
it is some of the best I think I've seen of Damian. It's showing a more human side. Damian's almost becoming a trope of overconfidence and how do I put it? Just callousness and bravado that is getting old to me for a child. And these 2 issues have really changed some things for me with Damian, to be honest with you.
And I recommend anybody that's enjoying how Damian is characterized in these 2 issues, I recommend you going back to the Robin series. It was 17 issues, I believe, by Joshua Williamson. Not this current run. It was Robin series. It was before Lazarus Planet. It was leading up. It was a Lazarus tournament on Lazarus Island. But it really showed, we got to see Damian doing some artwork, doing these comic books and that sort of thing. Yeah. And we saw a different side of Damian, which it continues here. And I think he does a masterful job of, the one thing that he's going through, he thinks, what would Batman do in this situation? So he's trying to save people. He's actually smiling that he saved everybody. And then he looks over at this young girl who's unconscious and hurt. And from that point on, he turns not from Robin, the boy wonder, he turns into a 13, 14-year-old boy. You see it in his face because he turns to the doctor and says, please, I don't know what to do. Can you save her?
Totally agree. That's what I was talking about. That panel in particular,
Mm-hmm.
the one above it. The Damian that we have come to know is helpless, which is refreshing. And he didn't save her, we don't know if I don't think she died, but she's out cold and she's got blood on her. And
yeah, and this conversation, when they're headed home, Bruce and Damian, he's like, I have all the tools, I've done all the work, but I can't handle this. He doesn't outright say that, but he's like, I don't know what to do in this situation. Gotham is not my city and that sort of thing. And
yeah, no, it's like I can't remember if it comes down and says it, but it's almost like he's debating whether to quit.
Almost. It almost goes in that direction. And then they have a little sparring session and he doesn't want to talk about it. And Bruce can tell he's a little off and he keeps seeing these flashbacks of the little girl. Mm-hmm. And the important thing here is Bruce says, here, let me give you a journal of your grandfather. Mm-hmm. And he says, Ra's al Ghul? And no, your actual grandfather.
Your other one.
Yeah, your other grandfather. And it's journals of his drawings and that sort of thing. He says it's not exactly like the comic books that you'd like to do, but I thought that was a cool, we've never really gotten into Damian other than, okay, he wants to be a tough guy and that sort of thing and be a little jerk, but only in certain instances that we've seen that, and we're seeing that here, and I really like that.
I totally agree. Like it's like I was like light bulb off. Like duh. I mean, we always think of Damien was raised by the League of Assassins, blah blah, blah, which he was, but he's got the genetics, and which included in genetics is art aptitude and things like that. He's one quarter Thomas Wayne, and this is brilliant. I thought it was great. I thought, and it's like light bulb went off for me. Light bulb probably went off for Damien. He probably and it even says it like my grandfather. The only grandfather he knows is Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah.
But he has another grandfather who's been dead for a long time, but it's still his grandfather. I thought it was really great. I mean, the funny thing about this, I'll just make a general statement, is like I was going into this going, Batman and Robin. I wasn't super excited about the last arc, whatever else. We'll see how this goes. It's not Detective. It's not Batman. It's Batman and Robin. But I'm super intrigued with the characterization so far. It's super great.
Yeah, yeah. And we get this character, Memento, who Bruce has had some history with the murders as they show a flashback. And the thing with Memento, if you remember last issue, he called Bruce Young Jack.
Mm-hmm.
And Jack was the name that he used when he was training with this Bly.
Yeah, Atticus Bly.
Yeah. And I found that interesting. And obviously they want to make you think that maybe it's something supernatural or something like this, but Bruce doesn't think that at all. He thinks, yeah, this is a copycat who's doing the same thing that Memento. He's called Memento because he sort of mementos previous crimes and that sort of thing. So, what's your take on this villain? I mean, we haven't had him in too many panels, but we get him here in the end of this issue where he basically is driving a boat into the docks, probably recreating another crime scene.
Yeah. As much as I just praised this book, I'm thus far not that interested in him.
Okay.
To be honest. But it reminds me of sort of a Hitchcockian kind of storytelling mechanism because without going too deep into Hitchcock, it's called the MacGuffin. But basically, some people think a story is about like the thing, like in North by Northwest, like some microfilm. It's not about the thing; it's about the character's reaction to the thing, and I think that's what this story is more about is the things that are happening to Bruce and Damien are irrelevant as much as how they react to them, and this other side of Damien is really the story, and the continued development of the father-son relationship is really the thing. But of course, yeah, we're going to find out that all this stuff's going to keep happening, memento mori, blah 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 blah. But that isn't as interesting to me as the characterization of Bruce and Damien.
I might have to agree with you there. I haven't seen enough to be like, ooh, who's this character? I haven't seen him. We haven't really had any interaction with Batman and him, and we got a little backstory of what Memento was a little bit and how Bruce was training. One thing I wanted to bring up before we head to our next book is we see Tiger Shark. Are you familiar with Tiger Shark?
Yeah, I've come across him many times. I probably need to be refreshed on his backstory.
His first appearance, this version of Tiger Shark was in the Black Mirror Detective Comics 878.
Snyder.
So yeah, okay. That's kind of cool. He has like this blindfold on and he wears a suit.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see where it goes.
So yeah.
So far so good.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, so I'm up now again with the Batgirl. Batgirl, Cassandra Cain, Batgirl, and for those who are not, I mean, I know that the people who like listen to this and watch it are, they know who Cassandra Cain is and stuff, but what I don't know is if everybody goes back far, because she's been in the Bat family for a while now. She's been in the Birds of Prey, whatever else. But just as a little refresher, Batgirl as Cassandra Cain first appeared in Batman 567, which is way back in July of '99. So we're talking, she's been around for 25 and a half years. And as Batgirl in Batman Legends of the Dark Knight in August of 120, in August of 1999. And little fun fact or a flash fact or whatever, she appeared in the first standalone Batgirl series ever, running from 2000 to 2006 with 73 issues. So Barbara Gordon had some specials. She was in books, of course, but that was the first time Batgirl had a standalone series, which is kind of a fun fact, I think. And her father is David Cain, and her mother's Lady Shiva. They're both assassins, and they raised her as an assassin, not teaching her to speak with her lips, literally, but with her fists. So, there's a little background on Cassandra Cain. So let's get to the issue. Batgirl number 1 is called Mother, Part 1. The arc is called Mother. Writer Tate Bromball. Artist Takashi Miyazawa. Colors Mike Spicer. Letterer Tom Napolitano. And editor Rob Levin. Our story opens in a Gotham high-rise. An arranged meeting with Batgirl and Lady Shiva. It's a tense mother-daughter conversation. Shiva is there to tell Cassandra that they're both being targeted by assassins and they need to get out, and they're leaving that night. Suddenly, a bunch of ninja-like assassins crash through the windows and the fight is on. Shiva and Batgirl take them all out. Then another wave arrives. Batgirl grabs Shiva and jumps out the window, gliding away with the help of her high-tech cape. They end up in an old temple, which Shiva says is the Temple of Shiva, created by her cultist followers. As they stand in the street bickering, the temple has a large explosion. They enter, chat with one of Shiva's zealots, the high priest, and more assassins arrive, filling up the priest's torso with arrows. They are surrounded. It's just them against a dozen, and the story ends. But I didn't cover the cover, so let's go back to the cover. Bill, I sometimes jump into the story, so what do you think of the cover?
I like this cover. It's, we're all in first issue cover. You got Batgirl with her little symbol in the back, so I enjoyed this.
Yeah, and people need to know, I referenced this whole thing about she wasn't taught to speak. In that first arc back 25 years ago, there's a number of issues where she learns to speak, and that's why in her cowl, she kind of has this sort of sewed in, where normally the Bat family has a cowl that has the mouth exposed. She doesn't, and, obviously she kept that, but that cover's got that. So, what I didn't cover in depth, and I'm not going to, but I really liked the this sort of mother-daughter relationship, which is obviously super complicated because Lady Shiva. I mean, Cassandra Cain. Batgirl was raised to be an assassin. Not exactly the most nurturing upbringing. She didn't get a lot of hugs or any. Up until later, if you remember that arc, that was a hard thing for her to do, was connect with people and stuff. And so when we read this, she's already well beyond that. She's part of the Bat family. She's got friends. She's close to Stephanie Brown. She's close to Barbara Gordon, and she's evolved as a character. But her relationship with her mother has always been super complicated, and I really liked. She was there basically to say she cares about her daughter enough to say, okay, we're being targeted by assassins. We got to get out of here. But that doesn't erase the fact that their relationship is really bad and complicated. And bad is an understatement, right?
Yeah.
I didn't get into all of that. I wasn't going to read it, but I suggest people read it because there's 3 or 4 pages of really good, complicated uh, dialogue between the two.
No, absolutely. And, you know, this Batgirl, you know, as you said, she started out not saying too much at all. And we get here her characterization where she body movements, looks, that sort of thing, heartbeats. You know, she gets a lot of information from that, whether she's lying or telling the truth, just by she's able to read people more.
Yeah, she developed those other senses because she couldn't speak and stuff like that.
But um, she has this code, no killing code, because she tells her several times no killing. And then later in the issue, she says when they're being attacked by these assassins, there won't be any killing. I mean, they all have swords and are trying to kill everybody. We don't really know what's going on here. They sort of want to know. They keep saying what is buried always comes to light. So I don't know what they're after. I don't know what's going on. I think the most interesting thing was the characterization of Sandra Cain and Lady Shiva here and their relationship. I think that was the most interesting part of here. I will continue on with this book because it was a first issue set up, and I liked it a lot, and the art was pretty good. I like that.
Well, I can't remember if you told me if you ever read this whole first arc from 25 years ago, but
I read bits and pieces. I can't say that I read much of it, but I did read bits and pieces. But I'm not as familiar with her as I am with some of the other Bat family.
yeah, sure.
But this seems super interesting and a good jumping on point for.
Yeah,
and you don't really have to know too much to get in on this book.
Yeah. But if you have some downtime over the holidays, if you could crank out 73 issues, it wouldn't be bad. It wouldn't be time wasted. But because it's not essential, because I think you know who she is already, and I think this does a good job of in these first 3 pages or so, kind of getting us to know Cassandra Cain if you didn't know her. But those books are fun, and actually there's not a lot of words in some of those, like that you could read them really quick, and the art, because she can't talk for like 40 issues or something.
Right.
So it's a fun book, but yeah, kind of like the last book is the father son thing, and the story might be the vehicle to explore that more. This might be a similar kind of thing, but you know. And I think you touched on a key point, which is Lady Shiva in saying, hey, there's these assassins that want to kill us. And then Batgirl's like, whatever, Mom. And then Lady Shiva's like, because you have the skill to read people, she didn't say it this way, of course, but this is what she's saying. Tell me if I'm lying. And that convinced Batgirl, like, you're not lying. Because Batgirl could read her face. Which is really cool. So we'll see how it goes. I like it. I like it so far.
Yeah, it definitely should be interesting.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now we're gonna get to I'm gonna jump to a conclusion based on some of our offline conversations. This might be your favorite book right now that you look forward to reading the most. Am I wrong? Absolute Batman. Is it close?
You're not far off.
Okay, well,
I will.
I'm going to raise the bar here for the listeners. Bill loves this book. Let's go.
So we got our last book tonight is going to be Absolute Batman #2. Writer Scott Snyder, artist Nick Dragotta, colorist Frank Martin, letterer Clayton Cowles, and editor Katie Kubert. And we get a cover here, and you get Alfred and Batman, squaring off. Sort of like a yellow oval background. What did you think of this cover?
I thought it was really cool, actually. I mean, I love this new Alfred character, and I thought the cover made me love him more. Like I don't know why I like him so much already.
Mhm.
I do, and he's got the gun like right in his face. And I just thought it was. I thought it was like, okay, cool, let's go. This is good. This will be good.
Yeah, and you hand this book to anybody and say, "Who do you think this character is fighting Batman?" I don't think anybody who hasn't been reading this would say, "Oh yeah, that's Alfred," because he doesn't look anything like Alfred. He has this beard with this white mustache, and he has white streaks through his hair.
Yep. No. No. Nobody would. Yeah, nobody would know.
No, no.
Yeah.
So
Of course. So yeah, you want to get into the action?
yeah, in this issue, we start out with a flashback on the day Bruce's father was killed. Bruce was left trapped in a bat enclosure with Thomas's body blocking the door as he's swarmed by bats. In the present day, Batman continues his war on the party animals. Alfred has been watching Batman. The ongoing fight allows him to gather more information on the party animals so he can get out of Gotham quicker. After a week, Alfred's handlers ordered him to remove his surveillance and let the party animals take Bruce out. The party animals quickly discover Batman's base in the empty skyscraper as Batman blows up the top levels of the skyscraper, leaving the tower in the shape of a cow with eyes of flames. Martha Wayne goes to visit Jim Gordon in the hospital, who she has been friends with since Gordon was one of the officers who responded to the zoo shooting and found Bruce being attacked by bats. Gordon tells Martha that the deputy mayor has resigned and he looks certain to lose the next election. That night, Bruce goes to Wayland's regular poker game. All the old friends are there, all, villains, except for Selina. However, Bruce is not there to play games, but pick his friends' brains, as they each have information or skills that will be useful in the investigation with the party animals. Batman breaks in Hill's campaign office and accesses his computer. He finds a folder named Arc M, and when he opens the folder, Roman Sionis appears on the screen. He tells Batman that he will give him anything he wants to leave him alone if he makes it out of the building alive. As the party animals and Gotham City PD are both about to attack the building, Batman fights his way past the party animals and jumps down an elevator shaft. At the bottom, opens a hatch, and he climbs into a room below. Alfred is already in the room and asks Bruce to hear him out and says that the party animals aren't what they seem, and he believes they can help each other. Alfred says they need to get out of there first and asks Bruce if he has a car nearby, and Bruce replies, "You're standing in it," and presses down on the gas pedal. The room they are in is revealed to be a cockpit of a heavily armored vehicle, which smashes through the wall of the building into the street. And our issue ends 14 years ago on the night of Thomas's death. Selina climbs through Bruce's bedroom window with a medal. She tells him to get up and come with her. So, issue number 2 of this whole new take on Batman. What an opening.
Yeah.
There's not much said, but Bruce is trying to get out of this room at the zoo, and it looks like Bruce's dad is dying and is against the door, and Bruce just gets attacked by bats.
Yep.
What did you think of this opening scene?
No, it was great. I mean, this whole alternate reality, whatever, multiverse thing is like, takes bits and pieces of the Batman lore with the cave, in this case, the cave storyline where, Bruce falls into that hole or cavern that's been depicted in movies and comics. But this time it's just in this room that Thomas Wayne put the kids in to protect them. and it's the bat aquarium or whatever it is instead of a cave. So I like that connection. But yeah, there's not a lot of words, and we were left with Bruce just basically being smothered or swarmed with the bats. I thought it was cool.
No, I like that a lot, and I like there are different versions, as you said, where you see Bruce fall and discover the cave, and there are bats and that sort of thing. I like that a lot. It was a pretty powerful opening.
I know, I totally. And the colors are different, like we talked about in the last issue. I liked it.
Yeah, they're like shaded in red.
Yeah, yeah. And he doesn't waste any time getting back into his war on these party animals, man. I mean, he's getting knives in his back. I mean,
crazy fighting. He has knives in his back. He's using his cape with its little. I don't know. They almost look like they have whips. We talked about it a little last issue. We get something kind of new here. I don't remember if they showed it last issue, but he has these spikes that come out of his.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit. Yeah.
Cape.
Yeah,
which he uses it a little bit better here. And he's in this aquarium, and it lets water down, and then he's hanging from the ceiling like a spider almost.
Yeah.
And then he throws some. It said a concentrated version of vinegar that turns the salt water into hydrochloric acid. And the party animals are coming out of there, and there's like, it burns.
Yeah,
my toes are gone.
He messed them up.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
And what I think is cool about this page, also, you mentioned it in the summary. The Alfred, who's he's on some assignment from his handlers about the party animals, and then he's run into this Batman character, and he's impressed. Like we get the sense from the first issue that he was probably in Afghanistan, special ops or black ops, and he's seen so much. A guy that doesn't seem easily impressed, and he's clearly impressed. And there's that, you've got to be blanking kidding me. Like he says it out loud. I thought that was this thing of that is happening between Alfred and Batman is intriguing me. That I like it. Like I'm sure you feel the same.
Yeah, because he's trying to protect him here.
Yeah, and he did that. He went against orders in the first issue to do so. Yeah,
and he's finding. I mean, he's watching him all the time. He is watching him during the day as he goes to work, and
he's tapped into the Gotham City CCTV. He's watching him.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Yeah, he goes to visit Joe Chill, who supposedly murdered his father, which. He says, I wonder what he's saying to Joe Chill and that sort of thing. And we get a mention of the Red Hood, some kind of resistance group.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice touch. I thought that was cool. But
so,
you mentioned in the summary, unless you want to go over more about this Joe Chill stuff, you got any more on that?
No.
This thing where Batman set off this explosion in that tower that ended up with the silhouette of the Batman ears, horns, whatever, and the fire coming out of the floors in the middle of the building that come out across his eyes. I stared at this a while, and I was like, that is so cool.
Yeah. He sort of set off in I don't know, I say a bomb, but it looks like it just set on fire and the party animals come running out of there.
I thought that was just so cool.
Yeah. That is a cool panel, though, that half-page panel.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool. Some amazing artwork there.
Yeah. So then we turn to the injured Gordon, who, gosh, he barely escaped with his life in that first issue. Yeah, we see that he was in the Marines by that tattoo on his arm, so he's got a tweak in his backstory. I don't think they've ever mentioned that Jim Gordon was a veteran. I don't think, but
No, not that I know of. This is kind of a different Gordon. He has these military tattoos on like his forearm and that sort of thing. Bullock looks, he looks a little meatier. He doesn't look as spongy. He looks like
yeah.
he's in better shape.
You mean he doesn't look like a chain smoking alcoholic?
Right, basically.
Yeah, and
And
it looks like they served together, right, or something.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but you what
Yep.
okay, go ahead. I'm excited about something about Barbara Gordon, but go ahead.
Oh, Barbara Gordon.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's already tipping off that she she might have an affinity to the Batman because Jim's talking about Batman, and she's like, wait a minute, shouldn't you be more focused on the party animals? I mean, they're the ones that are messing up the city. He's the one who's fighting the city, and so I see a little bit of and she actually says, "You do remember when he saved your life, right?" So she's like, I
Defending
see,
him a little bit.
but I'm like, oh, where are they gonna go with this? And like, is Barbara Gordon, you know, um, gonna be friends, or is she gonna be Batgirl or something? And then this visit by Martha. Oh, I love that Martha's like alive and in this, and and there's a line in this panel. Maybe I'll just blow it up and put it in front of my screen. But like when she goes to visit Jim in the hospital, I'm having a hard time doing panel by panel. Anyway, she says, come here, you. How's he doing?" I mean, that's Martha to Barbara. That, as you said in the summary, that demonstrates that "come here, you." That means she's known Barbara for a long time. They're super familiar, right?
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, this is great. Characters we've known forever. And then like, okay, where's this going? Where's the Martha connection to Barbara? I'm sorry, I'm getting all geeked out.
No, it's interesting, and this is Martha is a little hard edged because she pulls out and is smoking a cigarette, and she shares it with Jim. The only thought I have is there's some kind of relationship
Mhm.
we don't know about because her husband's been gone for a good while now. So is there some kind of relationship here, or you think they're just friends?
Definitely
Yeah.
yeah, a familial. Maybe they had something. Maybe it dissipated, but they're clearly like there's
Still close.
super close. And
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if you ever smoked or anything like that. It's weird. I always thought it was. I smoked for a long time. Like to literally take a cigarette out of your mouth or take a cigarette from somebody else. I always thought it was kind of gross,
Uh-huh.
unless it was like somebody that you were really close to, because like it's like putting your lips on the saliva. Something like it's just trust me as a smoker. It's like it's weird to to do that with just somebody you're not close with, and I'm not, maybe I'm reading too much into it because I've smoked or whatever, but like those scenes were like, oh, these two are tight.
Yes, I got that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that out of there too, and
Yeah. Anyway,
we get she does mention, he was the first to be on the scene that day when her husband died and Bruce is covered with these bats, and she asks how he's doing. And what I find interesting in here, she says, before that day, he was my little boy. He told me everything, every dumb detail of his day. His whole inner life was mine to be known. Now, I barely know him at all.
well, if you know anybody who that had a parent die as a child, it's like there's the day before and the day after.
Mm-hmm.
It's that much. Like it's that intense, and so I mean, I thought that was really, really meaningful. Um, and he won some science fair thing. He chucks the medal out chucks the medal out the window. Doesn't I totally get it. I totally get it. It's deep.
Yep, absolutely. It's just anger, depression,
But then the next scene was the poker thing that you mentioned. He's still, he still has the crew that wanted to play with him or be with him, that she said, hey Bruce, these your buddies are outside or whatever.
Mhm.
He pushes them away, but obviously he came back closer to them. And what you do sometimes when you age, you go back to the people that were there from the beginning. And I think, granted, these are in our normal continuity, these are all villains, but these are his guys.
Yeah. And you're not going to see I don't think you're going to see these guys become villains. I don't see it.
That's something I didn't think about, but I hope you're right, actually.
Mhm.
But they do have elements of what we know to be their personalities,
Right, yeah.
which is really cool.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
So no, I like this scene, and he lays this helmet on the table. It has all these electronics in it. It's this party animals helmet, and just getting thoughts of, obviously they don't know what Bruce likes to do in his spare time and that sort of thing, but
Right. Well, he needs to put that on the table because he can't make the money. He doesn't have the money to cover his bet.
yeah.
It's like something you would see in the old West where Doc Holliday is called on something and he puts his gun on the table and says,
Mhm.
I call you or whatever. And I thought that was kind of cool. But we're going to get into this money thing in a second. I got some. I want to ask you about money when it comes to Bruce. But this is cool. And then there's that. What did you make of this? Uh, this hand he drops that he's got three aces, and then he says four if we're playing with jokers, and it's the Joker card from back in the 40s.
Yeah.
Pretty cool, huh?
Jokers are never welcome here, Bruce.
Yeah, exactly. Because we know.
And we get a mention of a Joker, from last issue, but they don't really follow up on that as of yet. But
it's coming. And then this whole thing about the it's kind of like a trap a little bit. This thing with Sionis and breaking into this office thing. This was interesting. Like, I mean, is Alfred shows up. I don't know if you want to go in deep about any of the other stuff about this.
I mean, yeah, it's something which I didn't mention, a golden chess, also known as Arc M.
Yeah.
What?
Arc M.
I don't understand really what that's all about, but it's definitely a setup here.
Yeah. So then Bruce is got to get out of there, and then all of a sudden Alfred shows up.
Yeah.
So he was following him or something.
They're just trying to help him escape, I would assume.
Yeah, I guess he's kind of looking out for him.
And he's like, yeah, we can help each other, we can do a team up, basically.
Right.
He said, we just need to get out of here. Do you have a vehicle? And this was like a full page panel. You see this. How would you describe this? This Batmobile that's like a dump truck. It must have been part of the building.
Sort of like a bat cow catcher on the front, like front of a train or something. Well, that's what I wanted to get into with you before we get into the Selena stuff. So that's about the money, and because we saw in the first issue that where Bruce lives and where his mom lives, it's like, I don't know. I mean, does he have a ton of money? or
I don't think so, but I think he has a ton of knowledge of construction and all this thing. It's possible that he used spare parts from this abandoned building to build this thing. It's possible. I mean, it's a little far-fetched, but
yeah.
I'm going to say there's a slight possibility.
Do you think it's deliberate? I might have brought this up last time. I don't like being a broken record. That some of the grandness of the muscles and the vehicles is a direct nod to Dark Knight Returns, or is it just coincidental?
I think it's some of it's on purpose, but
yeah, okay. But anyway, it's kind of this vehicle's ridiculous.
Yes, it's ridiculous, but it looks cool. I want to see next issue if he's driving this through the city and.
Yeah, me too. Well, yeah, I don't know if we're going to see this thing again, but then then we get to the last page, 3 panels, clearly between that ridiculous vehicle panel, to this page, they got away. We don't know how Batman and Alfred said goodbye to each other, or we don't know anything. We just know they got out of there because it fast forwards immediately to him being alone. I guess exhausted.
Well, this is a flashback, I would assume.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, because she has the medal he threw out the window.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. Duh. Bad on me. Is it bad on? Am I just dense and I didn't? Do you think it was
maybe
obvious
a little bit?
Maybe on me. Maybe, he does look like a kid, but some of the art as him as a 25-year-old or whatever he is has a baby face. Yeah, she's clearly a kid. Okay, fine. Rewind. Fine. So we leave that scene. We don't know what the next scene is. Maybe we will find out how that's resolved. So this flashes back to Bruce being moody after his father dies. Doesn't want to talk to people. Okay, sorry, Bill. I just wasted a whole bunch of time. So, rewind. So, after Bruce chucks this thing out the window, this metal, then maybe later that night or something, probably, Selina, who hasn't been around much, she picks it up and she climbs through his window, and then she says to him, "You're coming with me." And that's how this ends. I'm sorry, Bill, I wasted all that time on that. But, well, maybe I wasn't the only one. I don't know. Sorry. Anyway.
No, it's all good.
So when you this was now that I see this, now I'm seeing this for the first time with how it should be, and it's hitting me as very poignant and very cool that Selina's going to be like really his best friend.
They had some kind of relationship, the friendship or whatever it was. She's not around here at the moment, but this is, she's going to be showing up here soon.
Okay, so, gosh, I wish I could rewind, but we're live and just say, "Oh gosh, I'm not an idiot." But nevertheless, what I do want to sort of close with you is they're going to run the adolescent storyline parallel to the Today storyline probably for a while here, which really kind of excites me.
No, I like this. This is new and fresh, and we're getting some things that I don't know. I've read a lot of miniseries, of Elseworlds and different versions of Batman. This just feels new and fresh for some reason. I don't know what it is exactly, but I'm really enjoying the series.
Me too. The way I put it, I think I put it this way last time, is that we've known these characters for so long, and this take is a tweak that is fresh, but it's not like messing with continuity. It's not retconning anything, but it could be unlike your typical Elseworlds book, which sometimes are one shots or sometimes small arcs. You know that there's going to be an end in 35 pages or in 125 pages, and we'll just put it on the shelf and go Elseworlds. This is an ongoing, as far as we know it, and I know you've got some insight to that.
And Scott Snyder has said he has at least 2 years of stories, and as long as people are reading it, he'll keep going. And you know, we had in that all in special. These characters are going to at some point meet up with, you know, Batman proper and Superman, and you know, we're going to get introduced to other absolute characters. I know there's an absolute Green Lantern coming. I think an absolute Flash. You know, we see a Justice League. I know this is a darker Earth and that sort of thing, so it will be a little bit different, but I'm excited about this. This is one of the books I'm excited about reading.
That's why I said it at the very beginning, because I can't wait till Ultra. I have to read it or whatever. It's like, well, I get it, because it's great to have that feeling. It's not. I mean, we read you and I read practically everything, and there's been times in my life where I've read like everything, and sometimes there's a book that comes out where you go to the store, you get 7 issues, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever it is, and you always read the certain issue first.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's how you feel about this, and I'm pretty close actually.
Top of the stack.
Top of the stack. Yeah. All right. Well.
So yeah, this was a fun episode. We had 4 pretty decent issues, I would say. I don't think we were like, hey, I wish we didn't do that book. I think they all were pretty good, and we're going to continue on, you know, with Detective Comics coming up. What else we got? Batman and Robin Year 1.
Yep.
You have us doing all these books. We have a DC show coming up too here. Before too long.
I read that second Titans yesterday. I'm not going to say anything about it now, but it's fun.
Yeah, so
it's fun.
So we'll be back here probably after the holidays.
Yeah, probably.
John's going away for 10 days, from what I understand. Can you podcast in Paris? Is that a possibility?
9-hour time difference.
Oh, no problem. You can get up in the middle of the night.
Wait. 9? No, it's only 6 hours for you.
Oh, okay.
But no, it might be tough with going to see Notre Dame.
We'll wait till you get back, and we'll continue on. I'm really excited about hitting the new Detective Comics. That was pretty interesting last time.
Quite. Yeah, man. Well, you mentioned that, so I know this is going to be released. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all that, and to you and everyone else. And I'm having a blast doing this.
Yes, absolutely. Happy holidays. Hope you have a nice trip, and we'll be back here soon. And thank you for staying current with Gotham Currents.
Got it.
This is where you do your dance moves. Come on.
Can they hear us?
Absolutely.